Your team already knows. They knew it before the meeting started. You hadn't even said a word, and they read the pace. You walked in with it. Your hesitation before answering a tough question. They don't have a name for what they're reading, but they're reading it every single time. You thought that identity work was personal, something that happens in the quiet in your sessions with a coach. You do the work, you feel the shift. Then you show up to lead. What nobody tells you is that showing up is the test, and your team is grading it in real time. We've been tracing what it means to hold your new identity, the tender ground under a shift that is real but unsettled. Today, we take that into the room you actually lead in. Identity work always becomes visible. The people closest to you are the first to see it. They know exactly who crossed the threshold and who got left behind. Look at Alan Mulally when he took over Ford. The company was bleeding billions of dollars, yet every project slide in the boardroom was green. The executives were operating from a survival identity in the old culture, where admitting a problem meant your career was over. So everyone performed. They managed the room instead of telling the truth. The team was calibrated to an identity of control. Their safety depended on maintaining that illusion. Then one executive tested the water. He put up a red slide. He admitted a major vehicle launch was stalled. The room went completely silent. Everyone was waiting for the predictable reaction, the old move of getting tight and demanding compliance. They were grading the leader in real time. Notice if you feel the weight of that silence. That is what happens when you lead from survival. You set the ceiling for everyone in the room. The updated self must show up in you first before it can show up in your team. Mulally bypassed the old move. He didn't need the outcome to look perfect. He stopped performing and looked at the red slide and started clapping. Then he thanked the executive for the truth. He asked the room who could help fix it. That room changed in about 40 seconds. It wasn't some new business strategy. The team felt the profound difference between a leader demanding compliance and a leader holding space for reality. By the next week, almost every slide in that boardroom had red on it. That's the updated identity showing up to lead. You no longer need the room to perform for you because you've dropped the performance yourself. Your team will feel the absence of that pressure before you even say a single word. Carry this into your day. Which version of you showed up to the last meeting? How did the room respond? Sit with that. The answer is already in the room's response. You just have to be willing to read it. If this episode landed, we need to have a conversation. Book a no-cost identity clarity call. We will trace this back to what it cost your team. The link in the show notes. Tomorrow, we go into the grief nobody wants to name, the relationships that didn't stretch when you did, and what the loss actually means about the identity you're standing in now. That's next. Identity work impacts every room you walk into. With Strength and Heart, I'm Shawn Michael. Stay close. We spend a lot of time on this show talking about the threshold, the space between the identity that got you here and the one required for the new ground. You're listening to this because something in your current architecture is fracturing. You're running the performer playbook or the striver protocol, and it's costing you an immense amount of energy to maintain the facade. The external results are there, but the internal friction, it's burning you out. Most people will let this episode end and go right back into the performance, They'll put the mask back on for their next Zoom meeting and keep relying on the identity that's actively caging them. I'm looking for the leader who's done performing. If you're ready to look at the structural identity collapse happening beneath the surface, we need to map your architecture. Go to the link in the show notes, book your identity clarity call. We'll identify the exact survival identity running your calendar and begin the shift into conscious leadership. Stop performing, start becoming.